Hi, everybody. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty well. It's been quite a while, a couple of weeks. I mentioned I'm just kind of crazy busy with work and everything, but I am back with you, and I have another Happyland studio review. It's really what I've been doing mostly here lately because it's what I've primarily been wearing. But EJ Wells of Happyland Studio has a new fragrance called Homme for the Holidays Decaf Edition, and here it is. Pretty cool, fancy little bottle. And this is, I guess you could say, a flanker of the original Home for the Holidays, which was like a maple coffee, roasted coffee kind of smell. And this decaf edition, of course, does not have the coffee in it. Before I get going, I want to thank EJ for sending me this 1.7 ounce bottle. I want to be transparent with you, of course, as a reviewer. I did order a smaller bottle, but he sent me a bigger one. So thank you very much. Just wanted to tell you folks, Um, Okay, so I had mentioned before the original Home for the Holidays I really liked, but I didn't love it. And that was because I would describe it as it's a scent that is combining two things that are a little too much combined. You have the maple sort of smell, which is very, very rich and sweet. And then you have the roasted coffee smell, which is very, very bold. And combining those two sort of scents together for me became overwhelming. Again, it smelled really good. It was a scent that I would love to smell on other people or smell on a tester strip or even just occasionally smell the cap. I mean, it really does smell good. But on myself, after like 20 minutes, it becomes overwhelming. And I think that, it's a shame because I love the two styles of scents, but combined, it was just too much. So coffee is removed. Now, he said when he announced this that if you think this is just going to be that scent with the coffee just gone, you're going to be wrong. And I figured that, of course, that's going to be the case because he's always creative with his fragrances and see what he does. But at the same time, still a little, a touch skeptical. Like, I wonder what he's going to do to make it a little bit different. And I'm not disappointed, as usual. I'm not disappointed. And I would say this is a great true flanker and how I like my flankers, where they're in the spirit of the original, but they're a little bit different. There's a slight twist on it. I don't like flankers that go crazy off in a different direction because I want something retaining from the original, but also giving me something different, and that's what this does. So, of course, the coffee is gone. It's not here anymore. If you don't like coffee scents, then there you go. Um, but what we have here is a maple smell at first. Now, I'll tell you, I'll be honest, when I first sprayed this immediately, I was a little bit disappointed because I was hit with that maple smell. And I'll tell you, when you first spray this, you're, of course, going to be immediately reminded of the original Home for the Holidays. So when I sprayed it and smelled that strong maple smell, I was just like, oh no, this just smells like the original minus the coffee. I'm not going to really be able to wear this just like the original. And I'll tell you, after really a short amount of time, like 1, 2, or 3 minutes, then it started settling into the fragrance. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So we have this maple smell that if you've smelled the original, it's there. But there's another addition to this that I think makes this fragrance, and it's something that he put in his most recent fragrance, Diabolique. If I can show you right here, Diabolique, great, probably in my opinion is probably his best fragrance he's ever made, and that's caramel or caramel, however you want to pronounce it. And that's not a thing that I thought I liked or normally dig to eat. I don't normally go for caramel stuff. But smell wise, especially in Diabolique, it added this sweet richness that was so smooth. I never thought I would want that in a fragrance, but now in a gourmand or a rich fall or winter scent, it's almost like if there's not caramel in there, I need to have that. And because I don't think there was caramel in the original, and it just adds such a smoothness to this. It's not too much because that maple is sweet. Again, remember, this is a rich gourmand scent, so if you don't like sweet stuff, you're not going to like it. Now, it's not sweet like El Gudo, which is like a bubblegummy kind of grape sort of club thing, but it's still very sweet. But that caramel is just enough to add this rich smoothness to this that I don't really remember in the original without being overloading with the sweetness. It's not that sweet, or it doesn't overdo it, I should say. And then there's these soft spices. I think he said there's soft spices and pumpkin pie spice or pumpkin spice in here. And I don't know if I necessarily smell pumpkin pie spice. There's cinnamon listed. You can pick those sorts of things coming together. But I do pick that up as this goes on. The maple again is strong at the top, but weans back a little bit, and then those that spice mixture comes out, and that's where this starts to really feel like a fall winter gourmand. A lot of people, I've even said myself that I think that from this house, you always have your bases covered, and Home for the Holidays is like a perfect holiday scent. But I think that this even more so is appropriate for that because of those spices just remind me of Christmas time. It's not quite as extreme as something like Burberry London that really does smell like fall Christmas in a bottle. But this definitely pushes more towards being the Christmas scent from this house for sure, even more so than the original, definitely in my opinion. And those soft spices that are in here really do make the fragrance. And there's some other things in here. There's some rose. I definitely pick that up in the mids. As that maple dries down, you'll get these things pushing out that definitely smooth it out a touch, make it a touch less sweet. And the dry down of this has what I call it EJ's signature kind of accord, because he uses this accord in a lot of his fall winter scents, a lot of his sweeter, maybe richer gourmand scents, and it's always like these soft spices with a touch of woods and patchouli, maybe a hint of ambergris in there or ambroxan or whatever, but there's always like a nice clear wood sort of patchouli vibe going on in the base, and it always makes it masculine but still soft. And it's not overly sweet. There's maybe a touch of sweetness in there, but it's very smooth. The patchouli's never overdone. It's very nice, and he must have a pre-blended accord that he loves to use for these styles, and I love that he does that. It gives it a signature DNA, and I detect that in Diabolique. I detected a touch in Fou de Fafa, even in Happyland Signature a bit in the dry down, and that's the same kind of vibe in the dry down of this. I'm getting that kind of thing, but it's a little bit sweeter than some of the other ones. It's a little richer because of that caramel. Um, I don't want you to confuse this with the others. The caramel, as I said, is in Diabolique, but this is a different fragrance. It's not as dark. It's not as masculine or sexy. It's more smooth and uplifting and holiday oriented. As that one's a little bit different. But there's also rum in that one, and I don't see any rum listed, but I do almost get a touch of a boozy vibe. Not as much as Diabolique, but I almost get a boozy vibe. And in Diabolique, one of the things that really sold me on that one was the caramel rum sort of vibe. It added this rich smoothness to the fragrance that really made it for me. And I'm almost getting that a touch in here. There's also something going on in here that I, again, don't recall from the original, so perhaps it's a new thing. And it's like it's hard to explain. It's like almost a freshness that I don't get in the original. It's not a very fresh fragrance at all, really. But there is this strange sort of freshness, despite it being a very rich scent, for the winter. Almost like a touch of an orange or an aldehyde, just the tiniest amount. And it's making it smell slightly fresh. Maybe it's orange. I made like a tiny bit of an orange blossom or something in there that gives this effervescent sort of quality to it. So I really, really like this. I like this more than the original. I think it dries down really well. A lot of us tend to we really like the dry down of scents, and while the opening is a little similar but a little bit different and I think better than the original, the dry down of this is really fantastic. If I could give one complaint of this fragrance, and it's kind of a silly complaint, but it is, I guess, a slight qualm. Happyland is known for extreme performance. I haven't even talked about the performance because I normally don't, because with this house that, or if you're not aware, these are probably the strongest, best performing perfumes you'll find anywhere. They are parfum extract, and they last, honestly, 24 hours if you don't shower. 24 hours, they'll last on your clothes for weeks. They're just, you don't have to worry about performance. I kind of get spoiled with this house. It's not a concern, but they can be too strong, and I've mentioned that sometimes they're a little bit too strong. And I guess, as I've said many times, that's a good problem to have. But I find actually that this one in particular seems extra strong. Like it almost seems like it's been bumped up from some of his previous releases. And again, slightly similar to my problem with the original. where it was so rich but so strong that it almost became overwhelming. This scent is almost something I probably can't wear this to work. Now, these are pressurized sprayers, these sprayers are great. I'm not going to spray it because I'm wearing it. I don't want to overload my senses, but you can do a tiny squirt, you can do a half spray, or you can do a big full spray. And when I first got this, I did just the tiniest spray. I didn't even do a half spray. My whole office smelled like the scent. It was seeping out into my hallway. I had sprayed a tester strip, just a tiny spray, and it was so strong I had to put it in a cupboard. So it's really strong. I can't wear this to work even doing a little bit, because trust me, you will be that guy that, hey, it smells great, but it depends on your job. I work close quarters with people, so that's a personal thing, but I'm just saying it's almost a little bit too strong. I wish, honestly, I know that's crazy to say, but I wish it was almost tuned back a little bit. But that is the case with all the Happylands. They're really strong ass fragrances. This one just seems a touch stronger. But hey, if you like really, really loud fragrances, there you go. So yeah, Happyland Studio Homme for the Holidays Decaf Edition. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great release. I like it more than the original, a lot more. And this is a big bottle, and I only ever do one spray or a half a spray, and this is going to last me a long time. So I'm pleased yet again. I haven't been disappointed in any releases. So I'm really looking forward to what comes out next, as usual. I did my Shadowland review for you folks a couple weeks ago. If you want to check that out, I really love that. That's a very different than what he normally puts out. That opinions were slightly mixed on that one, but I love it. And I also have Shameless, which I'll get to reviewing for you as well. Shameless is his take on a summer freshie. Most people have already done their rounds reviewing this one. Maybe it'd be a little silly to review it in the winter, but I am nonetheless. So that's that. I hope you're well. Sorry I haven't been around, but it's how I've been very busy. Yeah, I got a new camera, so hopefully the video quality is better. We'll see. Let me know. And let me know what you've been up to. It's been a while. I hope to hear from you folks. Hope you're well. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving if you celebrate that here in the United States. And yeah, peace out. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.